What if I told you a kid who got 200 views per video for years is now giving away millions of dollars and running the biggest YouTube channel on Earth? This isn't luck. This is Mr. Beast, and his story will change how you see failure forever. Jimmy Donaldson, known as Mr. Beast, didn't wake up famous. He was obsessed, ignored, and broke, but never distracted. While others quit, he studied success like a science. Today, he's not just a YouTuber, he's a movement. This is the motivational story of how patience, pain, and persistence turned a teenager into a global icon.
The foundation of Mr. Beast's empire is a 7-year stretch of profound obscurity. This period, from roughly age 13 to 20, was characterized not by viral sparks, but by relentless, silent effort. The external metrics were unequivocal. Views counted in the dozens, comments were non-existent, and monetary return was zero. This is the desert of the unknown, where most ventures perish, not with a bang, but with the quiet whimper of abandoned effort. The psychological landscape here is critical. Human motivation is heavily fueled by feedback loops. A like, a share, a dollar of revenue, these are psychological nutrients confirming our path. Mr. Beast operated in a state of nutritional deprivation. His commitment, therefore, did not stem from external validation, but from an internal engine powered by a genuine fascination for the platform itself and a belief in a future he could not yet see. This phase is the ultimate test of process over outcome. The outcome was undeniably negative. The process, the daily act of creation, editing, and uploading, was everything. Professionally, this stage is often mislabeled as failure. In reality, it is the essential incubation period. Every upload, regardless of view count, was a discrete iteration. He was unknowingly completing his 10,000 hours, not in the spotlight, but in the workshop. The muscle memory for scripting, pacing, and editing was being forged in private. This dismantles the pervasive myth of overnight success, revealing it as a statistical illusion. The overnight moment is merely the point where cumulative, unseen effort intersects with a marginally improved product and the algorithm's stochastic favor. The lesson is operational. You must decouple your motivation from measurable results in the initial phase. The goal is not to produce a hit, but to produce, period. The metric is consistency, not virality. You are building the neural pathways and skill foundations that will later execute a vision you cannot yet fully articulate. The belief cited is not blind faith, but a disciplined commitment to the craft itself, trusting that mastery over a sufficiently long timeline will eventually find its market. When faced with the sustained lack of results, two paths emerge: resign or analyze. Mr. Beast chose a path of systematic, obsessive deconstruction. He moved from being a content creator to a platform engineer and behavioral psychologist. This was not passive hope, it was active, ruthless inquiry. His methodology shifted from "what do I want to make" to "what does the audience demonstrably consume and why?" This involved deep dive analytics, studying retention graphs to see the exact second viewers dropped off. It involved A/B testing thumbnails with surgical precision, not just color or subject, but the number of human faces, the intensity of expressed emotion, the placement of text, and the psychological triggers of curiosity gaps. Titles were not afterthoughts. They were data-driven constructs engineered for click-through rates, balancing searchability with emotional punch. Beyond the visible tools, thumbnails, titles, he studied the underlying architectures, the YouTube algorithm's reward signals. He understood it as a system designed to maximize user watch time and session duration. Therefore, every video became an experiment in extending watch time. This is a transition from art to applied science. It's the difference between a chef cooking by instinct and one who understands the Maillard reaction, emulsification, and the precise temperature gradients for sous vide. The professional lesson here is about the source of strategy. Winners do not operate on guesswork or conventional wisdom. They treat their domain as a complex system to be reverse engineered. They gather empirical data, form hypotheses, run controlled experiments, and iterate based on results. This requires humility, abandoning the pretension of the artiste who is above commercial mechanics. It is a recognition that to communicate effectively, you must first understand the language and the medium. For anyone in any field, this translates to a commitment to continuous, granular learning. Don't just work in your field, study its underlying algorithms, be they market forces, consumer psychology, or technological capabilities. Your expertise must encompass both the creation and the delivery mechanism.
The narrative of hundreds of failed videos is not a story of perseverance despite failure, it is a story of perseverance because of failure. This reframes failure from a terminal verdict to the primary input for a learning algorithm. Each low-performing video was a rich data set, not a personal indictment. The critical step is the post-mortem analysis. Why did this one flop? Was the concept weak from the outset, a faulty hypothesis? Was the pacing off in the first 15 seconds, a retention failure? Was the thumbnail compelling but misleading, causing a high click-through but instant drop-off, a quality signal problem? By interrogating each failure, he extracted specific, actionable intelligence. This video taught him about pacing. That one taught him about concept clarity. Another taught him about audience expectations. This process cultivates a form of intellectual resilience. When failure is data, your ego is removed from the equation. You are not a failure. You are a researcher who just discovered a path that does not lead to the desired destination. This is the core of the scientific method and of agile development cycles. It inverts the traditional relationship with setbacks. Instead of fearing them, you almost require a certain volume of them to generate the necessary information to iterate forward. The professional application is systematic. Implement a formal review process for every project, campaign, or product launch, regardless of outcome. For failures, the review is even more crucial. Ask, what did we intend to happen? What actually happened? What does the discrepancy tell us about our assumptions about the market, our execution, or our messaging? This transforms the emotional weight of failure into the intellectual fuel for improvement. The goal is to build a failure rate that is high, fast, and cheap, rapid prototyping of ideas to quickly discard what doesn't work and double down on what does. The cost of failure is not shame, it is the time and resources invested. The lesson is to minimize that cost per unit of learning. The arrival of his first significant viral revenue was a critical inflection point, a test of temporal preference. Temporal preference refers to the valuation of present rewards versus future rewards. A high temporal preference would dictate using the windfall for immediate consumption, luxury goods, lifestyle inflation. Mr. Beast exhibited an exceptionally low temporal preference. He viewed the money not as a reward to be enjoyed, but as capital to be deployed. This is a fundamental principle of scaling any enterprise. The initial profits are not fruits to be eaten, they are seeds to be replanted. He reinvested in higher production values, more ambitious concepts which inherently carried higher risk and cost, and crucially, into the core value proposition for the viewer. Bigger giveaways, more extreme challenges, more spectacular visuals. This created a virtuous cycle. Better content attracted more viewers, which generated more ad revenue and sponsorship opportunities, which provided more capital for even more ambitious content. This mentality requires a radical deferral of gratification. It is the entrepreneurial equivalent of foregoing food today to plant a field that will yield harvests for years to come. It is counterinstinctual in a culture obsessed with signaling success through consumption. Professionally, this lesson is about capital allocation and strategic patience. Whether the capital is financial, temporal, or human, the question at every stage of growth is, will spending this now on improvement or expansion generate a greater future return than the personal utility I derive from consuming it? It is the recognition that to leap from one level of operation to the next requires a concentrated, often uncomfortable investment of all surplus resources back into the core engine. It is betting on yourself and your vision with tangible, hard-earned currency.
Mr. Beast's strategic masterstroke was aligning his content's operational loop, spending money to make videos that make money, with a profound, innate human motivator: generosity. He didn't just give away money, he systematized altruism as a core business function. This transformed his channel from a spectacle of consumption, "look what I have," to a spectacle of empowerment, "look what you can get." Psychologically, this is potent for multiple stakeholders. For the recipient, it is life-changing and generates authentic, viral emotion. For the viewer, it triggers vicarious joy and the powerful narrative satisfaction of witnessing a deus ex machina moment in real life, a random person's fortunes dramatically reversed. For the brand, it builds an aura of positive intent that inoculates against criticism and fosters immense loyalty. It moved his value proposition from entertainment, transactional, to hope, emotional. Professionally, this illustrates the power of a give-to-get ecosystem, but only when executed with authenticity at scale. It is not a marketing tactic, it is the product itself. The lesson extends beyond philanthropy. In business, giving can be equated to providing disproportionate value. It is the company that offers an incredibly informative free blog, the software with a robust free tier, the consultant who shares their best ideas up front. This approach builds trust, authority, and goodwill, social capital that is far more durable than a one-time transaction. It asks, how can my success directly and tangibly create success for my audience, customers, or community? When you architect your model so that your growth inherently benefits others, you create a self-reinforcing cycle of support and expansion. As his profile grew, so did the volume and intensity of criticism. Accusations of exploitation, shallowness, unsustainable spectacle, or mere annoyance at his ubiquitous presence. This noise is an inescapable byproduct of scale and cultural impact. The professional lesson here is in signal discrimination. Mr. Beast demonstrated an ability to filter a vast sea of commentary, isolating the rare, valid critiques that could improve his operations. For example, feedback on production ethics, environmental impact of stunts, from the overwhelming majority of noise, which is simply the static generated by challenging norms or achieving visibility. Engaging with every critic is an impossible drain on focus and morale. The ability to persist despite criticism is rooted in a clear internalized vision. When your direction is defined by external compasses, the fluctuating opinions of others, you will be paralyzed. When it is defined by an internal GPS locked onto a specific destination, external noise becomes weather. It may be unpleasant, but it does not alter your coordinates. Furthermore, he understood that criticism is often a lagging indicator of change. To innovate is to disrupt the status quo, and disruption provokes reaction. Therefore, a certain level of criticism became a metric in itself, a sign that his work was significant enough to challenge conventions and attract attention. The professional imperative is to develop a robust framework for feedback, establish clear channels for constructive input, example from trusted team members, core community, data, and consciously deprioritize the undifferentiated mass of opinion. Protect the mission from the murmurs of the crowd.
The evolution from solo creator to institutional brand is impossible without effective delegation and team building. Mr. Beast's early success was personal. His sustained, scaled success is organizational. He transitioned from being the sole engine to being the visionary who architects systems and empowers a team to execute. This requires a conscious suppression of ego. It means hiring people who are exceptional in their domains, editing, logistics, finance, philanthropy, and granting them the autonomy and authority to excel. It involves creating processes, standards, and a culture that perpetuates the Mr. Beast style and quality even in his absence. The team becomes a force multiplier, where 1 + 1 = 3 or 10. The professional lesson is about the transition from craftsmanship to leadership. Many founders and creators struggle with this, clinging to control and becoming the bottleneck for their own growth. True scale is achieved when you move from doing the work to designing the work and developing the people who do it. It's about building a brain trust, a group of aligned, competent individuals who can debate, refine, and execute the vision.
Success becomes a collective output, more stable, innovative, and sustainable than any solo endeavor. The measure of a leader shifts from personal output to the output they can inspire and coordinate from others. This final point represents the maturation of a mission. The end goal has transcended the platforms, the revenue, or even personal brand fame. The objective function has been rewritten from maximize views/subscribers to maximize positive impact. Initiatives like Team Trees, Team Seas, Beast Philanthropy, and his food distribution channels are not content plays, they are legacy plays. They are institutional structures designed to outlast the trending cycle of YouTube. This shift recontextualizes all previous points. The years of obscurity were building the engine. The obsessive learning was honing the tools. The reinvestment was scaling the capacity. The generosity was the proving ground. All of it coalesces into a platform capable of executing large-scale humanitarian and environmental action. The professional and personal lesson is about ultimate valuation. It prompts the question, to what end? Accumulating resources is an activity. Directing those resources towards a meaningful problem is a purpose. It moves the scorecard from financial statements to impact metrics: number of meals provided, tons of waste removed, lives altered. This is not merely charitable, it is strategic from a legacy standpoint. It builds a brand that stands for something beyond entertainment, granting it durability, respect, and a deeper connection with an audience that shares those values. It is the understanding that the highest form of success is not being the richest person in the room, but being the reason positive change happened in the world. Your work becomes a testament, not just a transaction.
If this story inspired you even a little, hit the like button. Subscribe for more powerful motivational stories, and comment below, "I will never quit." Your support keeps this channel alive.